Yeah, no, Big 12 play, Saturday game at noon. It'll be awesome. It'll be a great opportunity to honor our seniors, and our seniors have been hugely impactful for us. Um, and it'll be the last Saturday home game for our team. So just a great opportunity to play a team in West Virginia, and Coach DeVries, who I know well and have a ton of respect for. Genuinely, just love the way they play and the way they compete, and with a pretty prominent player in our league getting injured and them continuing to build their team without him, I just think they're playing great basketball, and we're going to have to play great. And excited about the atmosphere too, because I think we'll have an opportunity to really fill this place and make it the toughest place to play in the Big 12.
How much more difficult is it playing a team like this? You guys did it with TCU, one of those teams that's kind of fighting their way to try to make the postseason. Same thing for West Virginia in this. They've had a couple of slip-ups over the last few weeks. This is one of the ones that would obviously help their resume a lot.
In the end, I think every game in this league is it's on. I mean, there's nothing you can show up to and think it's going to work out. And so, West Virginia had a great home win against Cincinnati and played Baylor to an overtime game. And so it's like anybody, I think you just have to show up with an edge, and our edge needs to be how physical can we play this game without fouling. I mean, that kind of is what it boiled down to against TCU, that we didn't do well. We just weren't physical enough rebounding the basketball and had too many fouls and gave them opportunities to get to the free throw line. And playing on the road's tough, and that's what makes protecting your home court so significant. And our ability to do a good job of not turning the ball over against this team's a big deal. I mean, I know the rebounding is always going to be huge for us, but they guard the three-point line well. They turn people over. So just doing a great job of getting the right shots and maintaining a physicality on both ends is going to be big for us.
Notice JT did something late in that game. Is he good, as good as you can be at this point of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think our whole team's dealing with it like every team is in our league. I mean, this is a daunting schedule to play 20 games, and for us to not have a break, I mean, I think it really puts the emphasis on depth. And JT, tweaked his ankle at the end of the game, but I would anticipate him being a full go for Saturday.
Coach, kind of on that note, how important is it to mix up your rotations as this last couple of weeks goes on? You guys are in a good spot, but you guys are obviously competing for seeding. But do you expect to get deeper into the bench a little bit, kind of not trying to avoid playing guys 35-plus minutes?
Yeah, I think, all these games are so one-game seasons. I mean, like, you try to put it all together, but when you're in a game where you see it flow in a certain way and you know what your team's going to need in order to, I think we got to be able to find a way to still win those games, even when we got to play more minutes with particular guys. But, you look back on it, I did feel like that this time of year, the more you can keep trusting your roster to play deeper into your bench, that way you can keep the energy that you need to finish games. And that's where I see our benefit going down the stretch, because we do have a good roster with depth, and I got to do a better job utilizing it to give us the maximum amount of effort and physicality to finish games. And we did struggle down the stretch against TCU with that, and would anticipate our ability to play more guys at home would be an advantage.
Along those same lines, you've said a number of times this year you need to just kind of improve your substitution patterns. What does that kind of look like in your mind ideally, and what's kind of holding it back from being able to kind of go with that rotation?
Well, in the last one, it was foul trouble. I mean, it's kind of always dictated by what do we do in rotating our team when we have foul trouble inside. I mean, that's kind of the biggest place. And JT got 2 fouls, and he picked up his third early in that second half against TCU. So it shortened the bench in regards to left D5 out there a little bit longer than what we needed to, and getting Fede to play more minutes. And then when you get behind, I think at the guard spot for us, and I said this to our roster, I mean, I think making shots is one thing, but when you're playing against a team, and that's where I thought Posey was tremendous for them in this game, and that's kind of, he's been an X factor. If you go back at their wins that they have in our league, he ends up having an impact When they won at Baylor, I thought Posey did a great job. His energy and his effort. So what I'm looking for is not shot making necessarily all the time. It's like who's making the intangible plays to come up with a loose ball, who's making the defensive effort plays, who's getting their hand on an offensive rebound and creating an extra possession. And sometimes when you're in these games, you don't see the urgency in those moments, but you see like the discouragement of shot making being a big part of it. So I think more for me, yes, we need to play deeper into our bench, but yes, we also need to have the urgency of the edge that you got to compete with, and that's what I'm looking for more than anything from our roster.
Coach, when you have a guy like JT who's taking up the focus of a lot of defenses, whether double teams or just overall pressure, how do you game plan differently throughout the week to give him those same touches?
Well, I think if you're any team in our league is going to try to limit JT's opportunities around the basket, and I think we just got to do a better job of making sure we got good spacing and we're putting pressure on the rim. Against TCU, and specifically that double team, we got a little too spread out and got to get the ball closer to the basket and got to put more pressure on the rim when the double team happens. We ended up being extended and tried to screen it, and can't do that the entire game. I mean, the rim pressure has got to be the most important aspect of what we do, and how do we get that? And we lost that part of it over the course of the game and didn't apply pressure at the basket like we needed to, and definitely something that's fixable.
And just because I noticed it when it came out, chance, is that a precautionary thing? Is there something more there?
Yeah. We're just trying to make sure that this time of year all these guys are dealing with ailments, and so you take the extreme precaution just to try to make sure everybody's healthy so we can play them on Saturday.
You've coached against Javon when he was at Oklahoma State. What kind of different intangibles does he bring with this West Virginia team as opposed to where he was last year?
Yeah, I think this year specifically, Small is just super aggressive. Now, last year he let the game come to him quite a bit, and he was playing more kind of in the flow of a system. It feels like this year he's just aggressive on all possessions. I mean, shooting if you go under a ball screen. He's driving it left and shot faking and getting to the free throw line. He's attacking the basket. He's pressuring the ball. Like his mentality offensively is to go score and then play make as a part of his aggressiveness. And so I mean, I'm telling you, he's playing as good as anybody in our league. And when you have a point of attack scorer, distributor like he is, who can get to the free throw line, I mean, it takes all five guys to be great. You can't just rely on one person. And that's where our team defense wasn't as good as it needed to be against TCU. And we're going to have to be great as a team defensively to contain the way they're playing and the way Small's playing.